Welcome again to the Purposes of God. I am your host, Doug Krieger, for this special 29-part series of videos and PowerPoint presentations on the purposes of God. This is video number 8. In video 8, we're going to be discussing in part 2 of the distance and time measurements from Jerusalem's Temple Mount to Gentile world powers and to capitals of the Gentile world. Ancient relationships to Jerusalem's Temple Mount and the Garden of Eden and the Great Pyramid of Giza. From Eden, the garden, the creation of man, there were and are 666 nautical miles from the Temple Mount in Jerusalem to the Garden of Eden at the mouth of both the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which is the traditional site of the Garden of Eden mentioned in Genesis. With regard to the Great Pyramid of Giza, and we'll be speaking on this much more in detail, there are from the very foot of Giza closest to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem to the actual Dome of the Spirits 1,441,000 feet, or 480,000 yards from the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Solomon commenced the building of the temple in 962 BC, according to 1 Kings 6, verse 1. 480 years prior to that time, the Exodus from Egypt occurred in 1441 BC. This relates to the same number in years between the Exodus and the building of Solomon's temple. 480 multiplied by 1,000 converts to 1,444,100 feet, or 1,444,100 divided by 3 would equal 480,000 yards. Again, please feel free to pause and examine these calculations and check up on them as much as you can through Google or other sources to find confirmation regarding these facts and figures. Solomon's temple was destroyed in the fall of Babylon. Nippur, Neo-Babylonia, along the Kibar Canal, 587.25 statute miles to Jerusalem from Nippur, where the prophet Ezekiel announced to Jewish settlement at Nippur Jerusalem's destruction at the hand of King Nebuchadnezzar, which occurred in 587-586 BC, the second captivity, Ezekiel 9 through chapter 11. Now, Neo-Babylonia, the city of Babylon, fell to the Medes and Persians on October the 12th, 539 BC, or on the Jewish calendar, Tishri 16. Babylon, that ancient city that was destroyed or that was conquered by the Persians, to the Temple Mount is 539.86 statute miles. The vision of Antichrist and the 666. Susa, or Shushan, near the river Ulai, Hebrew for perverse, from evil. Daniel 8, visions of the evenings and the mornings, 2,300 days to occur. In the latter time of the indignation, for at the appointed time the end shall be, for it refers to many days in the future. Verses 19 and 26. The Gentile powers, the future Antichrist, Persia, Greece, the little horn, Susa, modern Shush, to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem from Susa is exactly 666 nautical miles. And now John on the Isle of Patmos in the Apocalypse, the Revelation, and Daniel in Babylon at the end of days. 539 BC, two falls of Babylon. But interestingly enough, John on the Isle of Patmos, the future which he predicted, Babylon the Great is fallen, is 539 nautical miles from Jerusalem's Temple Mount, where John received his revelation on that Grecian island in the Aegean Sea. 539 nautical miles from Jerusalem. Again, nautical after the death and resurrection of Christ. Whereas in Neo-Babylonia, the fall to the Persians occurred in 539 BC, and it is that distance from the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where Belteshazzar was given the announcement, many, many tekel upharsin, and the 2520 was announced to him. He was tried, weighed in the balance, and found wanting, and his kingdom was divided and taken from him. Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, the destruction of both the first and second temples occurred on this national day of fasting in Israel. Solomon's temple was destroyed in 587 BC by the Babylonians. Ezra and Zerubbabel in the Herodian temple were destroyed in 70 AD by the Romans under Titus. 587 BC plus 70 AD is equal to 657 solar years between the two. 657 times the solar year of 365 would equal 239,805 solar days. If that figure of solar days, 239,805, is divided by 360 prophetic days in a year, it will equal 666 prophetic years of 360 days. Here is a beautiful rendition of the Herodian temple, the second temple that was destroyed in 70 AD. And that can be seen, I believe, in the Carolinas. It's actually on display. Now, the Kaaba stone in Mecca is 666 nautical miles from Mecca, the Kaaba, to Jerusalem temple. 666 years between the destruction of the first and second temples, 666 nautical miles to Nippur, Babylon from Jerusalem's temple, and 666 nautical miles to the Garden of Eden, to the temple in Jerusalem, the creation and the fall of man. All of these figures cannot be an accident. 2520 and the Roman Empire, apostasy, political power, and economic power. The Lateran obelisk of the Lateran Basilica of St. John of Rome is considered the true Mother Church and the seat of the papal power in Rome. Not the Vatican, but the Lateran Basilica of St. John. From that point in Rome to the Dome of the Spirits, it is a most interesting discovery. The Lateran Basilica of St. John in Rome is the oldest basilica in Rome. Again, it is the seat of the Pope's authority in the church in Rome. Its entitlement is the ecumenical Mother Church of the whole inhabited earth. It is considered the papal throne. Now, from Basilica's Lateran obelisk, which is you can see there in the picture, the very tall obelisk with the cross at the top, to the Dome of the Spirits, that little dome that you see there in the bottom right-hand corner of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, is 1,431.82 statute miles between that little Dome of the Spirits, or the Dome of the Tablets, where the Ark of the Covenant was, directly to the Lateran Basilica of St. John the Obelisk, to the Dome of the Spirits. That in feet 1,431.81 statute miles would equal to 7,560,000 feet. 7,560,000 feet divided by 3 is equal to 2,520,000 yards. Interesting figure there, 2520. 2,520,000 yards to Rome, or 2,520,000 divided by 360 will equal 7,000, the number of completion. Rome, religious, commercial, and political power. Babylon the Great and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. Revelation 16:19. The tripartite nature of Babylon the Great is not only religious, it is commercial, and of course it is political. In 1799 AD, Napoleon and the Jews. This is a most interesting story that I think most of you would find fascinating. In 1799, Napoleon proclaims Israel's independence in harmony with the earth and the moon. 1,799.62 nautical miles from Paris, France, the city island at Notre Dame, to the Jerusalem Temple Mount, 2,159 moon, or 2,160 is its diameter, minus 1,799 will equal 360 degrees, or 360 degrees of a circle. 1,799, when Napoleon made the declaration for the Jews to return to Israel, times 3 plus 2,520 will equal 7,917, or the Earth's mean diameter. 1,799 minus 1,260, which is the half of 2,520, would give us 539, the year of the fall of Babylon, 540 or 539 BC. Again, please pause and enjoy these calculations with regards to Paris and the Temple Mount. Bonaparte, Commander-in-Chief of the armies of the French Republic in Africa and Asia, to the rightful heirs of Palestine. General Headquarters, Jerusalem's 1st Floréal, April the 20th, 1799, the 7th year of the French Republic. This is a letter, a statement that Napoleon Bonaparte made on that date of 1799. I'm going to read very quickly the document for those of you. Please pause and reread this, or just pass through it yourself. Israelites, unique nation, whom in thousands of years lust of conquest and tyranny have been able to be deprived of their ancestral lands, but not of name and national existence. Again, this is by Napoleon Bonaparte. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and singing and sighing shall flee away. Napoleon and the Jews continues. And by the way, this is the first world leader to declare unequivocally the rebirth of the state of Israel. Arise then with gladness, ye exiled. A war unexampled in the annals of history, waged in self-defense by a nation whose hereditary lands were regarded by its enemies as plunder to be divided, arbitrarily and at their convenience, by a stroke of the pen of cabinets, a vengeance its own shame and the shame of the remotest nations, long forgotten under the yoke of slavery, and also the almost 2,000-year-old ignominy put upon you, and while time and circumstances would seem to be least favorable to a restatement of your claims, or even to their expression, and indeed to be compelling their complete abandonment, it offers to you at this very time, and contrary to all expectations, Israel's patrimony. The young army with which Providence has sent me hither, led by justice and accompanied by victory, has made Jerusalem my headquarters and will within a few days transfer them to Damascus, a proximity which is no longer terrifying to David's city. Rightful heirs of Palestine, the great nation which does not trade in men and countries, as did those which sold your ancestors unto all people herewith, calls on you not indeed to conquer your patrimony, nay, only to take over that which has been conquered, and, with that nation's warranty and support, to remain master of it, to maintain it against all comers. Arise, show that the former overwhelming might of your oppressors has but repressed the courage of the descendants of those heroes, whose alliance of brothers would have done honor even to Sparta and Rome, but that the 2,000 years of treatment as slaves have not succeeded in stifling it. Hasten! Now is the moment, which may not return for thousands of years, to claim the restoration of civic rights among the population of the universe, which had been shamefully withheld from you for thousands of years, your political existence as a nation among the nations, and the unlimited natural right to worship Jehovah in accordance with your faith, publicly and most probably forever. This was taken from Ben Wider, Napoleonic Scholarship, the Journal of the International Napoleonic Society, Volume 1, Number 2, from 1998. 1799, Napoleon, Notre Dame to Jerusalem's Temple Mount. The 1799 Napoleonic letter to the Jewish nation, to Israelites, unique nation, rightful heirs of Palestine, to the very stone in front of Notre Dame, which I myself have stood upon, is the center of the island in the Seine River, in the midst of the Seine River of Paris. It is precisely 1,799 nautical miles to the Dome of the Spirits in Jerusalem's Temple Mount. Then we have 1948 in Israel and the British and the Balfour Declaration. And I should say something of Lord Balfour when this was given in 1917, that His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this objective. In 1948 nautical miles from London Stone to the Ark of the Covenant. Now the map there shows you where London Stone is, found there on Cannon Street. The British defeated the Ottoman Turks and administered this ancient land of Israel in 1917 AD. The British mandate over Palestine ended on midnight, May 14, 1948 AD. Israel's rebirth as a nation was declared on the Gregorian calendar date of May 14, 1948. London, or Londinium as it was called by the Romans, was established by the Romans in 47 AD as a civilian settlement at the narrowest point to build a bridge across the Thames River. The London Stone marks the site of the Roman millstone. Its precise distance to the Temple Mount is 1948.40 nautical miles. The rebirth of Israel in nautical miles, 1948.40, is based upon the ratio of degrees in a circle to minutes in an hour. It's the prophetic nautical mile of 21.60 inches. Each degree of the Earth's great circle equals 60 nautical miles, or the Earth's circumference to the equator is 360 times 60 equals 21,600 nautical miles. This is directly related to the length of the common cubit of 21.60 inches, which is the basis of the nautical mile. Etymological, or the origination of the words navy and nautical, stem from Noah, the Ark of the Deluge, and the Ark of the Covenant. Thus, nautical mile can be seen as ark mile or temple mile. The British preserved the sacred cubit measurement in the statute mile, or 5,280 feet in a mile, and conceived as well the nautical mile during the Elizabethan reign based on the common cubit, also prophetical at 2160 inches. 2160 plus 360, or the degrees of a circle, are equal to 2520. Yes, in 1948 it does relate to the dominical, that is the spiritual number of 2,520, which we're going to discover here. There were 2,486 years between the return of the Jews from Babylonian captivity under Cyrus the Great of Persia in 538 BC to the rebirth of the State of Israel in 1948. Again, 2,486 years calculated using 365 solar days as a year. Now, using 360 prophetic years, the Jewish calendar year days, we find that 2,486 times 365 will equal 907,390 days, divided by 360 will give you 2,520 years. The fall of Babylon in 539 BC plus 1948 will equal 2,487 years, plus 33, the year of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection life, will also equal 2,520 years. Incredible calculations. This concludes video 8. Thank you for your viewing and your listening, and please go back and check out these figures. And we're moving on to video 9. Again, this is Doug Krieger, your host, signing off. Thank you very much.